if you really got it right the first time, then you could do it so much better after you do the same thing like 10 different times or more, you know. So that's just why it's like you literally just have to do it, you know.
Sorry.
I don't know. I was gonna say it's either gonna be bad or good. Then it's just like you take that together and you can keep on going. Better than just being on like maybe if you're truly interested in it, then then you just have to.
Yeah, it's like wanting to. It's like I'd say I compare it to playing an instrument. It's like wanting to play the guitar. It's like, oh, I want to play the guitar. It was like no, it's like, oh, I want to play this song, but you don't know how to play it. And it's like, are you gonna sit there and just be like, oh, I want to do it, but I don't know how to do it, so I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
Or are you gonna say, I want to do it, or I want to play this, so I'm gonna look how to play this, watch a video or something.
I'm gonna educate myself, I'm gonna figure it out.
I'm gonna actually do it. It's like, and you just do it when you can. That's the thing, is it's trying to force things when you don't have the time or you're not in the mindset for it is just gonna make you not do it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we're talking about, it's like, oh, I want to do a podcast. It's 10:30 at night and we're about to like split soon. So it's like, we're not gonna do it right now, obviously.
I mean, little you guys know I've been recording for the last 2 minutes. So I mean, it doesn't really matter. You never know. I fucking sent it. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter. You never know. And yeah, like you said, taking those little steps and doing it as if anything. I was like, I'm just gonna record this. You never know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
It took me a second to start listening again, but I mean, it's funny. It's like, I don't know. Fuck it. You never know what could happen.
Yeah, I agree. Though, going back, like I think Shawn was saying, like 2 weeks ago, or whatever, there was like a King Kelsey song, I listened to forever, and I'm always just like, oh, it's so complicated, it's so beyond my head and stuff. But I would love to know about it and stuff. But for the longest time, I wouldn't even look at the song just because it's so above me. But then I actually looked at it and stuff because I wanted to, and I actually took the time to do it. And I was just like, oh, okay, I wasn't so bad. Even though maybe parts where I was struggling or whatever, but it was just like it wasn't so bad compared to like the actual desire of me wanting it.
Mm-hmm.
The desire of me actually wanting to play it was much more worse than actually having to learn how to play it.
Yeah, really.
And now it's just the mindset where it's just this is gonna be so hard. I'm gonna stress myself out compared to just being this is how it is. I want to fuck up this part right here. I don't know it. Let me take it slow, actually.
Like you were building it up so big in your head.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just overanalyzation. At the end of the day.
Yeah, just overthinking it and just wanting things to be easier, wanting things to come. When you're like you were saying earlier, when you're comfortable and you don't want to do something else, it's like, yeah, I want to do this, but I know it's gonna, I'm gonna have to get out of my comfort zone. I'm gonna have to try something new that I don't know how it's gonna turn out, and you just overthink it and just question it so much to the point where you just don't want to do it anymore, or you just give up on it because it just doesn't seem possible. Versus where if you sit there and you're you say, oh, this is cool, I want to do this, and then just
do it.
If you want to,
you either do it or you don't think about it.
Yeah.
You either do it in the moment or just don't think about it until it pops up at a time where you are going to want to do it.
Exactly.
There you go.
When it's ready, you'll have the tools and the knowledge
to
get it done. For that song, for example, for me, it was just certain ways I was learning how to learn other stuff. I was just from other material I had to learn, I was like, okay, there's no way I can learn this whole thing in just one thing. Let me just take one part of this riff and split it in half. Let me just learn this first part. Mm-hmm. Do I have that? Am I sure? Okay, now let me learn the second part to that. Okay, now I'm a quarter way done. Let me try the next, instead of just trying to get it all out in one sitting, because my brain doesn't work that way. So I work the best of how my brain would work for that situation,
Absolutely. I suppose that's a big part too. It goes back to what we were saying earlier and being honest with yourself. Accept your capacity. Accept the capacity you have.
You shouldn't be ashamed of your capacity as well.
Exactly.
That's the thing. It's just
you know it better than anybody else. No one can, and if anything, it's likely very difficult because a lot of the time when you're a kid, people tell you your capacity. People label your capacity. And that is just so beyond negative. If anything, I love my sister for for letting her kids figure out shit for themselves for the most part. When it comes to eating and survival or whatever, when you have a cut or something, you're not just going to go into the dirt and fly, and get infected. Yeah. It's we need parents, but I think that, that's a big one, is not labeling somebody else's capacity and letting it kind of blossom to their point of view.
That's why a lot of people, a lot of older adults, whatever, they think that this is you can't learn something new, Yeah. I can't learn this. I can't
that
get this
fucking
new job.
kills me, man.
I can't get this new hobby. I can't learn this
instrument.
Parents. And it kind of goes back to the kid thing, as a little kid. If you look at a little kid, it goes both ways, but you could see a little kid playing guitar very terribly, and you could just be, you could scold them for it, or you could just be like, oh, how cute, they're just fucking, they're figuring it out. So for most people, a kid could play like shit, they could play a violin shitty, and that's okay, because they're a kid. but give the same situation, you have like a grown adult who's actually interested in stuff. They pick it up, they've never done it before. They sound like shit. Now they don't want to do it and stuff because, they have in their mind and stuff that, like, I'm not supposed to sound like shit. Which, it's complete opposite. If you don't know how you're doing it, you're not going to know how you're going to do it,
Yeah.
And that's because most people think that they have to do it right. First time, that's what they're told and stuff.
Yeah, that's what they're expected,
You do your test, you need to get it right the first time and stuff. There's no makeup test in this class, there's no, this or that, etc., etc. And that's what brings people down half the time is just like that first step. That's like with everything, whether it's like you're depressed in the morning, it's just like, well, just take that first step out of bed, and then it just gets better from there compared to like not taking that step and then continuing with that I'm not going to take that step,
It just feeds into itself.
Exactly, it's just going to go into this.
Bro, every time I used to smoke weed and like not want to do anything, like, or whenever a friend would hit me up, I would be like, I do want to do that. I want to do that. Yeah. But this seems more safe. This seems more comfortable. I'm pretty sure that this is going to get me where I want to be, even though I didn't know, and now I know that being uncomfortable and getting out there, putting yourself in positions where you don't know what's going to happen, to an extent, that's obviously life. You don't want to get, exactly. That's life, bro. Fuck yeah. That is life, dude. Yeah.
You just use your life experience.
You're good. I just don't want people to jump off a fucking bridge and expect themselves to live. That's all I'm saying. If people listen to this or something, or somebody else, if we ever, that's all I'm saying is you don't want to be fucking lost, but
just use your best judgment. I say at the end of the day, stuff. You have all those experiences, and you use best judgment. Where it's just like, well, from past experience from this, going on that date, it wasn't that bad. It might have been uncomfortable. You're like, oh, it wasn't that bad. Honestly, afterwards, you go home, you're like, I killed it or whatever. So then you continue to use that experience to know that like it could go bad, but it's it's not gonna be that bad. Same as other thing. That's where you just gotta be critical about it and actually be real.
It's like things are only as bad as you make them out to be. But that's the thing is, and people say, so you make it out to seem better. It's like, no, you don't make it out to be anything. You just make it out to be something that's like unknown that you're gonna go into and you're gonna know afterwards.
Exactly.
Because if you put a high expectation and then you go in, you can get disappointed.
Or any expectation.
If you know the outcome and stuff, like over time, you do it enough, you're just gonna get over it. You're gonna become desensitized to it. Where it's just like, it's just like I know what's behind this door. If you always know the prize is behind that door, after a while, it's just like that prize doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah. Understanding to it, like the amount of control you have over preparation in life because of just the nature of life, and like how things happen, how things come at us when we don't want them to, when we're so comfortable, and then things hit us where it's like, what the fuck did I do? Accept that that's going to happen often. It's okay. Or not even accept that it's going to happen. Just look towards not expecting things all the time. Not
just accepting it and moving forward. Because even accepting it to a certain point, you can start thinking too much about it. But just accept it and then like graduate from that idea.
Graduate.
It's awesome. It's like you don't need to linger on things. And I hate to bring it back to like relationships and stuff again, but it's like you think about like wanting to get back together with an ex or wanting to still talk to someone. It's like you might want that, but if you just hold on to that want, that's not going to happen. It's just going to
it's going to affect you. The next relationship you want, do I really want to pursue this girl? What if this compared to just being all like, well, yeah, I'm actually interested in this girl. I'm just going to go with it and stuff. Whatever happens and stuff. You can't hate me for just living my life.
Yeah, exactly.
If anything, we'll go.
You go first.
I don't know, bro. I worry because like we're all good, but like I don't know. I'm thinking about Elizabeth and how you mentioned that, like wanting an ex to get back with you. I think about that so often, but it's like, I love what I created with her and I want those things, but at the same time, they were created in a time where I didn't have the clarity I do now. I don't have the experience. If anything, she defected. She still wants it the same way or wanted it the same way after. It makes me feel like it may not be the right thing.
Yeah. And I was going to say it's differentiating the wants, because if you want, it's like, one thing it's like for me, it's like wanting to get back together with an ex or wanting to still talk to him. It's like, I want that right now. It's like, but if you think about it, like, I don't want them, like, I want them back, but that doesn't have to be this moment. Like, you can want something, but not have to do it right away. Like we were saying with guitar, you can want to learn something with a guitar, but that doesn't mean you have to do it right then.
That's genius.
You leave it open to when it works out. Like, there'd be a time later on where they might come back into your life, and as you still want them back, so let them back in when they want, like when the opportunity presents itself. don't go out of your way trying to force things to happen. You know.
Of all that energy you spent, forcing it, you could have been building yourself up. So when that situation does come, if it does, then you're more prepared.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, and then you don't have to do any work because like the work on yourself speaks for it.
Yeah.
You know.
That's definitely the biggest thing is just learning. I think it's not just impulse control because you can still act on what you feel, but it's knowing that if you act on how you feel, not having an expectation for it. You know.
Say it again.
Like if you're gonna act, like if you feel something in the moment and you act on it, you can't have an expectation for how it's gonna go. You just act on it and you just do.
Mm-hmm. There isn't even any room, I guess.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
There's no
if there's
room
a
for
mistake,
it.
you like playing guitar. It's like you just do, and if you make a mistake, you move on. You don't dwell on it. You move on, and you just keep going. And that could be applied for almost anything, like anything in life, like work, relationships, school, anything.
Yeah, sipping on a girl in between moments, waking up in the morning, just like don't even fucking think about it. Just go for it. Just go for what you know you want. You know,
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Even like you said, you texted her.
Yeah.
Because you felt the need to say something else.
Yeah.
There was something else you wanted to say. Get it out there. That's great. If anything, I feel bad for telling you not to hit her up in the past. Because it's like, of course we were learning. If anything, even when you came to me and like there were moments where we were talking about his relationship and stuff, it's like I didn't even know a lot of the stuff I was talking about.
That's the difference between like want and like thinking you want, because you could either just dwell and thought about how much you wanted to do it, or you could actually done it after you did it. It's over with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, but to waste all that energy on like, what if I did?
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, and that's where it's just like, if you really, that's where it comes to. If you really want it or want to make something happen, then you do it. You know, you don't have to expect the actual income, but as long as you did it, actions speak louder than words. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Words are fictional,
That's a big one, man. A lot of parents like to utilize words as their power, but actions really show. At least my parents. I don't know. I don't want to generalize because I think that if anything, it makes sense that my parents would kind of choose words over actions because like they're teachers.
Yeah.
They're teachers. If anything, teachers teachers build their profession on not only because obviously we need teachers, but I feel like a lot of teachers have this expectation that they know exactly what they're teaching and they know every aspect of it, and that alone is kind of it's a limit. It sets a limit.
I think it's more or less it sets a precedent because they feel like they have to act like they know and they have to have that mentality that they know, because if they're teaching something and someone asks them a question they don't know, then that person's not going to see them as someone that can teach them everything.
That's very true.
No.
It's kind of a forced mentality, but it's
that they have to accept, or that they have to use.
There's still teachers and professors and stuff where they act that way, but outside of class and stuff they don't, because they know that. But they know that in that moment they need to be that.
Yeah, and some of it's also trauma inflicted. That's just like how they grew up.
My dad,
to believe how it is.
Just
grandpa hit him all the time.
Asserting like what you know, and knowing that you might be wrong, but you don't care if you're wrong. You just put
it's
yourself
okay.
out there. Yeah, you just do it. Yeah, and you deal with it. Like it's part of. That's what I was
graduate
saying.
from
Part
the
of,
idea. Like
that's what we were saying earlier. Part of growing up and being an adult. Like we might get mad at our parents because they'll say something that's wrong and we know it's wrong, and we tell them it's wrong and they just don't really care.
Mm-hmm.
And part of it is because you can be wrong and not have to feel bad about it. You don't have to get down. You don't have to be like, oh shit, I don't know this. Like fuck, like I feel stupid. And no, you just didn't know.
Fair
Yeah,
enough.
that's the thing.
Damn
it's
straight.
I have my jazz theory professor, and he's it's different from a lot of professors that I have, where it's never afraid to be wrong and stuff. He's a saxophone player, but he has to teach a lot of the music theory on a piano because it's a lot easier to understand and stuff. But he has to play a lot of pieces and stuff, and he'll fuck up every class he'd fuck up a couple of times maybe on doing a thing. But he wouldn't care because he's even though he's done over his 10,000 hours on his sax and he's a master in a sense, but he's still a student. And he's still every day he's still learning the guitar, the piano, and this and that, and he's okay with that and stuff.
Yeah.
Compared to maybe that professor who has that kind of mentality that they know everything, and because they're doing that they think to their advantage, thinking that that's building them up by portraying that idea that they know everything, but deep down inside so you just gotta give them a little bit extra love in a sense because they have that reason for how they're acting like that. In that certain case, you could be that trauma trying out boundaries and why they're acting on that certain way. And so in that case, you just got to give them that extra love because they were given that, you know?
You create like this kind of like, you think you made a mistake and you just dwell on it, but it's like you just go with it. Don't care what other people think about it. Just, you know, they tell you something is wrong. That if someone's like, "Oh, that I'm uncomfortable," just my bad.
Yeah, so good. At least you're being your authentic self. Not that many people could say that. In a sense.
You're right. We're lucky to be able to say any of this.
So some people, they go home, you know, they go home from work or whatever, and then like, you know, it's like they'll be like, "Fuck, I spent all day having to pretend I was this or that," you know. And then they get all fucking high and like shit faced and stuff to forget about the fact that they had to pretend to be someone else or not.
And then they just do it all over again the next day.
Exactly. That's why a lot of people are
It's fucking so funny, bro.
You know,
God
90 days makes the habit. You know, most of these people, they've been doing it their whole fucking life.
You just kind of get like groomed almost to just always want to be like a people pleaser. Always want to be that.
You gotta learn to say no.
Yeah,
You
learn
know?
and
Even to yourself.
learn to say no. Learn to not really dwell on what people think about you, and just know that you can't be perfect. You can't know everything, and not everyone's gonna like you. I mean, that's just like that's just a basic thing about life that a lot of people think that they can have control over.
Damn straight. What makes me wonder and want to ask, where do they get it from? Where do we get that?
Thing?
Where do we get that from? Like, why do we want things to work out in our favor all the time? You know,
Because that purpose, you know, at the end of the day, go back, you know, everything, you know, why people are depressed, because they don't feel like they have purpose. You know, if you just have purpose, you know, it speaks for itself.
Mm-hmm.
And like, so that's why a lot of people want to be part of that group, because they feel like even if they don't have a necessary purpose, their purpose in a sense is being with everybody else, you know, being a part of. That's why some people like going to school or working their job and stuff, because, you know, because they don't have their shit figured out, but they know like no one else does.
Yeah, you create your own purpose, but you create your own purpose. Don't let other people create it for you. You know?
Yeah, that's the thing, because if you're walking around and you see all these people together, and you're like, you know, you're letting them create the idea that you need to be around all these people to have fun. When really all you need is yourself to have fun, you know.
Yeah.
Just if you're actually being your genuine self, you can have so much fun around by yourself. You know, put on your favorite music. You like to dance, well then just fucking dance. You know, you can have so much more fun doing that than being in a group of people who like don't like you, you know, or you know, don't care if you're there or not.
Yeah. It's like if you're worried about what someone thinks about you or what, you know, how people are going to perceive you, if you think that they're going to perceive you negatively, then why do you even like want to try to impress them if they don't like who you are?
Why even try to impress them if you don't even like, if you can't even impress yourself in a sense, you know? Why please these people when you're not even pleasing yourself?
That's true. That was how it was when these girls told me, if anything, you know? That's how it was. If anything, like, I was lying to myself, you know? It's crazy.
And
that's part of the growth, is realizing that, you know?
Yeah.
Damn straight.
And, like,
if anything, thanks you guys.
Of course.
Like, you know, I'm sure you guys feel that way too.
Yeah, and like the whole people pleasing thing kind of goes back to like relationships too. I mean, getting to the point where it's like you have this person and it's like your purpose is to kind of like maintain your relationship with that person and make sure that they're happy, because when they're happy, you're happy. Then when they're gone, it's like you kind of lose like your sense of like purpose and your like meaning, you know. That's what kind of like, I was reading a book a while back called Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. I was telling you about that, yeah. And it's this guy, he's like this, he was a neuroscientist who was Jewish and lived in Germany or something, like during the Holocaust, and his whole family got separated. And the one thing he said is that people died every day, like in the Holocaust. Like, you weren't expected to live that long. But the people that did live through, like, he was there for like over a year in Auschwitz. And he survived because he found like a meaning in life that kind of like kept him going, you know. It's like, even though he had all this like shit going on around him, he said that there's like 3 things that like can give life meaning. He said love, work, and it was love, work, and I think it was power or something like that. And
passion?
Power.
Yeah.
And his whole thing was like he got through the Holocaust because, you know, even though he knew that his wife was probably dead, like she probably like died in a concentration camp, he didn't know that for sure. But his whole purpose was to stay alive in case she was still alive and to keep going, so that way if she was still there, he could see her afterwards. And it's like, after that all happened, you get to the point where it's like you find out that that's not the case, and you can get down about it, but then it's like you just have to keep finding a purpose, You can't rely on one thing your whole life for that. You just find things to create purpose for you. But the biggest thing is not to let anyone have that control over your life,
Yeah, I guess, a lot of us are like grown to believe we are controlled by our parents.
Well, that's just like the mindset you're raised to kind of have. You don't have to think any way else because you just do what you're told. Growing as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
If that's the way you're raised, that's the way you're raised. But it's part of that is growing up and breaking that kind of cycle.
That's why I'm glad my sister is starting her kids without that cycle. To an extent, in many moments.
Yeah.
She's giving them a lot more opportunities to make choices for themselves and figure out why they do or don't like things. And there's moments where she lets them play, on their tablets for 6 to 8 hours. And I mean, it's not that. If anything, I would have loved to do that at that age. I don't even doubt that's she's allowing them to do that. But then it makes me think, what is the tunnel vision like for a child when they are spending that much time? Because I remember what it was like, at least to an extent, the reactions I would have when my parents would come in to stop me and play video games, or even just interrupt me about what I wanted for dinner or something. It was manic. If anything, that's probably me manifesting my examples, which was also a problem. But
I was gonna say, I feel like it has a lot to do with your relationship with your parents also, because I had the same thing. I would sit there and play for hours and hours, and they tell me to get off, and I'm just like, no, I don't want to,
Yeah.
But,
You gotta learn for yourself.
Yeah.
Usually you get burnt out of it and stuff, The kid thing is complicated because in a certain sense it's just like...
They don't get burned out, they just kind of keep going.
Yeah, they will and stuff. Yeah, they don't have that mentality and stuff. That's why you tell them shit. That's why you gotta tell them, you're okay, you fell over, you're okay and stuff. Don't eat that, but, because they need that and stuff. But, for us, same thing, if no one tells us, nothing will stop us from laying in our bed all day, being on Instagram and scrolling through reels. Some people, they fucking spent many days to do the quarantine, etc. Even just life in general, just doing that. But, it's up to them to actually make that point.
Yeah.
Be like, you shouldn't be doing this. And then you stop. If it's actually what you're trying to do, So that's where it's just you just gotta do you and stuff. You'll figure out eventually and stuff.
Yeah.
If not, then I don't know. It's you asked for it.
I think that point is completely applicable to your brother. Because you remember there'd be times when we were at his house. I know you've been at his house when his brother was younger, and this fool just be in his room screaming at his TV, playing video games, just all day playing video games. And I'm just like, dude, how are your parents okay with this? But look at him now. He doesn't he has that kind of control. He learned for himself. And because of that, I mean, dude, your brother's way past where we were at his age.
At his age, and it bugs me almost sometimes, but I'm okay with it now.
Yeah,
It's just fuck, man. He's
he
way beyond.
Instead of growing resentment because he wasn't allowed to do certain things or he thought things were supposed to be a certain way, he just kind of more or less had the opportunity to figure it out for himself. That's he can stay up playing those games all the time, but it's that's not what he wants to do all the time anymore.
Mm-hmm.
He
found
got to
other
the
things.
point where he found that that's not important.
If he didn't do that, he would probably still be playing video games now.
Mm-hmm.
If it was disrupted then, because he'd be trying to make up for that time.
Yeah.
Compared to
You know what? If anything, now I do believe my brother probably wouldn't be in the position he is right now if he hadn't been through the school system, and my parents hadn't valued the school system. Because here's the thing: there's a lot of. If anything, not to discount the fact that anybody can find their way in life without school. I just think that his and if I don't even know. You know what? I wonder if that's just rooted. And I don't even know what I'm saying, but I guess you could say he wouldn't have found a girlfriend maybe the same way, but I don't know. Anybody find a girlfriend depending on where you are. I just know the girl he's with has, in the relationship he's been in, and even with girls in the past have also, gender or not, regardless, it's the experiences he's had with these people with people he's met because of school, have shaped him as well. It's not just at home.
Same for us too. That goes for us.
Look at what we're doing right now.
Yeah. And it's I don't know, it's hard to kind of compare yourself to other people, even if it's someone in your own family, because you're not the same person. Like, I
You
forgot.
don't have the same abilities.
Yeah, I forgot. I think it was Jordan Peterson. I know you watch some of this stuff. Do you know who Jordan Peterson is? Kelsey?
Jordan Peterson.
He's a psychology professor.
Jordan.
But he said that the only accurate person that you can compare yourself to is who you were yesterday.
Damn straight.
Like, because anything else you try to compare yourself to just isn't going to happen because they don't think the same way as you do. They didn't have the same experiences you do, no matter how close you are with them and how similar you think.
Yeah.
And you and me, like, we're similar. We get along very well. Like, we're friends and stuff. Like, we all get along very well.
All of us do, yeah.
Yeah, but we don't think the same.
No.
I mean, regardless of how, like, we're talking right now, and we're all kind of on the same page, but we all have even though we're on the same page, we have different ways of thinking and different reasoning. So we're all gonna apply this knowledge differently, even though it's the same. It's all the same thing,
If anything, I'm grateful to have accepted that because it allows me to respect you guys and listen. Because I honestly, like, accepting that not everybody's going to be the same, or if anything, nobody's the same, it makes it easier to wonder whether they'd have something to bring to your life or not. It's like listening is a lot easier when you think about that. I don't know, the fact that like, whether or not you know or want to know what they think or have to say to you, you don't. Everybody's different. Make sure to check. I'm just kidding.
Really, like, with meditation and stuff. When I used to meditate, sometimes what I'll do, just like an easy one, I'd get my phone out on timer, 7 minutes, hit it, and just close my eyes, and then I'll just like start doing what I have to do. Sometimes I would be thinking like, it's like the hardest part for me would be the amount of time I spend, whether it be 5 minutes or 20 minutes. It doesn't matter. I always just be like, this is time. I could be doing something else. But it's like if I'm thinking about that, it would feel like eternity compared to like. We got to a point where like when I would be doing, I would just 7 minutes, go in there with my objective of what I'm trying to like diffuse or get out of it, and I would do it, and it would all just because like I would stop thinking about time, I would just do it. It always end up like I'll do what I have to do, and by the time I'm done, I've literally opened my eyes and it would ring, within like a second of me opening it, just because I was the time, I was like in that time instead of like trying to like understand it,
And that kind of goes full circle to what you said earlier. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. If you're always worried about what your end goal is, you're worried like, I'm going to meditate for 7 minutes, then you're just going to be thinking about, waiting until that 7 minutes is up. But if you're like, I'm going to meditate right now, but you like set 7 minutes more or less as like,
that's how long I know that I want. That's how long my journey's got to be for that.
Yeah.
So then you just go through it, and at the end of it, you're just like.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Shawn,
What's up?
sorry to interrupt you. When you get done, make sure you move your car for a bottle.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Hi, guys.
Rock and roll night, thanks.
Yeah, no, but I was gonna say I don't know if you remember in Lawrence's class when we had to do the Eightfold Path.
Yes.
For Buddhism,
Mhm.
and part of the thing was we had to meditate for 10 minutes each day. And the first day I did it, I sat there and I was like, all right, I have to meditate for 10 minutes, and I was just focused on just doing like getting the 10 minutes done. But then the next day I came back and I was like, all right, I need to meditate, but I need to meditate for 10 minutes. And I was more focused on the meditation than on the time I was meditating, And it worked exactly how Kelsey said. Like I sat there and I just meditated, and just like that, like my timer went off. It was like no time had passed at all because I wasn't focused on the time. I was focused on the action.
So you just really just concentrate on it. Like time goes with you and stuff in a sense, Yeah. So then it's just a decorative word and stuff,
I would
people
feel
like
that on acid.
Like people like to have their decorative things on them,
I would feel that on acid. Like I would think so many things in such a short amount of time that it would almost scare me.
Because that's like once again like time is just like it's just a made up concept, and the thing I think about acid as well is just like acid doesn't show you anything that you can't already see.
Exactly.
But then to a certain extent though, it unlocks like the more higher abilities that our body purposely don't allow us to have, because they would give you that burnout. But in between that, it's like, my vision is better. Is it, just because it's like the drug, or is it because my brain is like moving this much faster now? I could see this many steps in between. This and that. It's like I can remember one time I was on acid shit. I was watching like a Frank Zappa music video, and it's like if you watch it normally or high, it's just like a bunch of flashing, like, and you're just like, what the fuck is this? Watching it on acid, I'm just like, I'm in a completely different world. I'm watching a whole different part of a music video I haven't even seen before.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because like you're perceiving that time like differently. You're in between it. You know.
Damn.
And that's why you have a lot of time on acid. You have like all these million thoughts at once because it's just like, you know, we're not in that space in between time. We're like in that outer like kind of part of time. You know.
Yeah.
And that's why it's like a lot of times on acid, I'm heavily tripping. I just look into a wall, and then all of a sudden I start going to all these little mini like universes and stuff. Because you know everything's there, but we just don't perceive them.
You're just purely in the moment, like purely like inverse the moment. Which I think we came full circle to what we first started with is just like living in the moment. It's like when you're in the moment, you have less to worry about, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you know what you got to do, then you do it when you have to, but you don't dwell on it. You don't constantly think about what you have to do or what like you're trying to do. You know, you just do it until it's done.
Exactly.
God, man. This makes me wish we were just like, I don't know. Makes me wish I had like brought, I don't even know. I'm thinking about food right now. I'm thinking about food.
Do you want something to snack on, or do you want to like wrap it up and like?
I don't know what I want. If anything, like I don't know what I want. And that's a first. But no, to be honest with you, like I want the fuel, but I don't feel like, I don't know, I don't feel like I need it. I certainly like think, I guess you could say, I'm in my head about what would cut off this.
Oh, about that. Oh yeah, you're trying to just actively think. That's the thing, is don't think about what you want, just do it, you know.
Exactly. You know, like middle school, longest time in middle school and stuff. I wanted to be like, you know, I wasn't even fat. It was just I have you know baby fat still and stuff. You're still growing, you know, more to do and stuff. I wanted a 6-pack. You know, and so like, I tried so hard for the longest time. And I took all these like cardio and kickboxing classes and stuff. I would do private lessons and stuff, you know, where it's like, you know, you'd have the master dude and stuff, you'd be fucking, you know, pushing you, were doing fucking like, you know, 50 crunches in a row, and this, I would do all this work. No result, you know, like be in shape, but no result like that.
Yeah.
Just living life like how I am now, and it's just like, just doing what I do over time, it's just like, I lost that weight and I got my body to where I actually want it to be. That was just from over time, just from like, you know, like adapting to like, not just like completely committing, but just like adapting to what I want in the future, you know, instead of just trying to force yourself to have something that like it's just not doable.
Yeah.
Because if it was doable at the time, you'd have it, you know.
Yeah.
So it's just like,
you wouldn't
know,
doubt
you
yourself.
just gotta set yourself. If that's something you want, you just gotta set yourself up with it and stuff.
I think about that, like whether
But it's
things
just like thinking, it's like, well, what do you gain out of it? And that's where like you really like make your final decisions whether you're gonna make the steps or not. If it's really worth that extra step, you know, it's just like you do it.
Yeah, it's like you can't cross the finish line unless you participate in the race, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
and you
you
can't
know,
make a horse drink water. You can only take him to it.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's like what you said, like about just trying to like get that little extra. Like you said, like trying to get that 6-pack when you know you're young and you still like it. That just wasn't possible. It's like, you know, you want something to happen, but you can't force it to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes back to what we were talking about earlier.
Expecting things to go
Wanting things
quickly, you know,
yeah,
and make
like,
things happen.
Yeah,
Wanting things in the moment and being upset that you don't have it in the moment. But it's like you can want things, but just continue to want it, but just don't.
Exactly. It's like you could just
dwell
be bad in that moment, or you could just be like, well, I'm gonna set myself up. You know, I'm gonna do that cardio right there. You know, I'm not gonna eat that item right there. I'll eat this instead. You know, and setting yourself up for it and stuff. As long as you take those steps, you'll get there eventually, or you get to like you'll find contentment and realize like I didn't even want that.
Eliminate want.
You know.
Eliminate want. Not. I mean, that's the weird thing though. Is when I say that, I think like.
But you
sorry,
know,
and
you
I just
kind of want wants at the end of the day, because that's what makes people get up at the end of the day and actually succeed and do shit. That's why we have all
exactly.
this, like fucking like that's why we live in a revolution in a sense, you know, because people actually wanted those things and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just a matter of you actually have like realizing that that's what you want or don't want, and then like being objective about it. I feel like.
Yeah. Like you said, like you want, like you say, like you're hungry, you want food, but you want something good, and you also want to lose weight, you know. It's like, you know, you can still want something good, just have it later.
Have it later.
Like, you know, it just, I guess you just have to weigh out what you actually want in the moment, you know. It's like, I'm gonna go back to the whole guitar thing again, wanting to learn something. It's like, yeah, you want to learn this, but do you want to learn it right now? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But if you don't force that thought. Like, oh, I want to do this, but I can't do it right now.
Just because you know where you'll get. Like, that's traumatic, if anything.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, like I want to eat, like I want to go get like Taco Bell or something right now, but then I'm not going to make as much progress as I want.
Exactly.
Like,
It's just kind of two ways you could take that. You could either be like, not going to take the Taco Bell, I'll take the salad. Or you could be like, I'm not taking the Taco Bell tonight, but I'm taking it tomorrow, but I'm working extra hard.
Yeah, take the steps to make it so,
Yeah, there you go.
That's the thing. It's like another thing. It's like that's why I feel like for me personally, like I've been over like for years at this point, like multiple, like 5, 10, or 6 years, like not wanting to be like caring about being in shape, but being like in shape enough to where you're actually well physically and stuff. But like I've been over like the whole like glamming myself up in a sense, just because it's just at the end of the day it wasn't like my best interest, and like I kind of realized it's just like I can have this, I can have that. As long as I maintain myself, at the end of the day, like I'm gonna be okay. Just as okay if I have the 6-pack and not. Probably be worse if I have the 6-pack because I'm gonna be depressed. I really can't have this. It's gonna ruin what I have here.
Mm-hmm.
But just being okay with it, being like I have this and stuff. Like at the end of the day, if you're gonna eat, you're gonna have you're gonna be bloated. It's just how it is until it passes through your system. It's just how it is. If you eat that certain item, it's gonna do X, Y, Z to your body. And you just gotta accept that.
And I think the biggest problem, at least when it comes to like health and like physical shape and stuff, is that a lot of the images you see about it are taken on the good days, and people aren't like that 24/7. Like that's just how it is. It's like, you can have that 6-pack, but it's like you said, like if you want to have a cheat day, it's like it might not be as defined, or you might even get a little bloated because of it, but it's not going to be there forever. It's getting hung up on it, You get hung up on, now I don't have a 6-pack because I ate a bunch of shit right now and I'm all bloated. And it's like, well, you're not going to be like that forever.
Damn straight.
It's like, if you don't want that anymore, then just take a couple days, eat healthy for a few days, you go back down and you'll have it back again, It's not going to be there. Nothing's permanent,
Yeah, that's true.
Nothing in life's permanent, man.
That's Buddha right there.
Yeah.
I remember when he said that, I just could not ignore it, dude. When he wrote it on there, I went on the board. I could not ignore that. Everything else we had talked about in the last fucking 2 months meant nothing compared to that, dude. That blew me away.
Lawrence really that's why I hated about that I went to state, that I was just kind of raised to think that university was better, because it's not. It's all individuals, bro. Like, just because the university is supposed to be higher education doesn't mean that the people teaching it are going to teach it better.
And that's the thing, is if you really want to learn that like that, you could learn it yourself.
Yeah.
Especially in this generation and stuff. You could you want to start a business, but you could go to school for that. Spend a lot of time. Everyone else is doing that. But if you actually learn about it in your own way and get the hands-on experience, you got the one-up, and you're actually, going forward.
Yeah, and it's not about where you're getting your information or what exactly you're doing. It's about more or less the journey itself. What you're doing. Because I could say this is about to be the end of my third year from my fourth year in college, third year at Cal State. This semester it seems like I'm going to learn a lot, and I'm into it, and I'm more focused on what I'm going to learn and the journey I'm going to take on learning it. But up until now, I can honestly say I learned more and experienced more from 1 year at City College than 3 years at university.
And that's what comes down to. It's what you do. It's what you do with the information.
Yeah, it's how much it actually resonates with you, and if you actually actively want it. You just have to do what you want at the end of the day. Just do what.
I think you should drop out of Cal State and start February classes at LBCC.
I can't do that anymore. That's one thing that I actually.
That you just don't have control over.
Yeah, I don't, because if I take another leave of absence, then all my student loans are due up front.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh.
Pretty sure they
Plus,
Oh.
I'm past junior status.
That's why money is evil.
No, but and plus I'm past junior status anyway, so I couldn't go back to Long Beach City because I have too many units.
Okay, that's fair.
But that doesn't mean I can go back and just take classes, because
if you get a degree at one school, you can't go to another one?
you can, except
Get a degree from there?
you can only get an associate's degree from City College, or
You can't get it twice, It's he's already passed the associate.
Well, no,
he's already
no
passed
doubt.
The associate.
I was
That's what
seeing-
most people go there for and stuff. Will be that associate's degree.
He's told me, though, you've told me this, where you said, philosophy may not be what I want anymore.
Yeah, and
That's why I said LBCC is a place where you can find what you want.
Yeah, Yeah, and then it doesn't mean I can't go back. It doesn't mean I can change. It doesn't mean like, I mean, I've talked about it like with my parents, the finances and everything, you know, like I might, like after I get my philosophy degree, I might just try to fucking like stay there and get another degree.
Do it. Fucking
like
do
not
it.
even a master's degree, just get another bachelor's in something else.
There you go. Anything, that's why I'm signing up for classes. I'm signing up for I'm doing music theory, and I'm thinking also about doing maybe some human sexuality kind of stuff. Not because I've already done human sexuality, but I want to like, I just want to learn, and I want to understand, and I also want to meet people who want to learn too. Because I mean, you know what happens when you meet people who want to learn about sex. You know, like come on.
I was gonna say like just because you've done something once doesn't mean you can't do it again. You might learn different things from it the second time because you're so like when you learn it the first time, everything's new and you don't really. You know, you only take in what you don't know that really resonates with you. But once you kind of have the knowledge of it, you take it again. You're going to see you're going to learn things that you didn't learn originally because you were focused on other things. Bro, it's like watching a movie twice.
School's so bad now. Like I just want to learn. Oh my God.
It's like watching a movie twice, bro. It's like you watch a Marvel movie or something. You watch a superhero movie. You see certain things. You see the action. You see the comedy and stuff. You like it. You go back and watch it again. You see the Easter eggs. You see all the little things that you didn't see before. Because at first you were just focused on the movie as a whole. But now that you know the movie, like you know the broad part of the movie, you can go back and
you can invest in different things. Yeah. You can invest in things that
you can pay more attention to the details.
There you go, dude. That's crazy. That is.
Like I said, like if I get done with college, if I feel like, I mean, like I love learning. So like even after I graduate college, I might still go to city college and take this intro classes and shit that I didn't get to take before. Mm-hmm. Or just if I lose my knowledge, go back and retake something that I already took, just for the sake of learning it again and having the fresh knowledge in my head. You know.
If anything, knowledge builds confidence too. Like, because I've felt that before. I've felt the confidence, and like not even I feel like confidence can be.
Knowledge power.
I mean, yeah, that's the thing. That's the problem. Is it's not knowledge is not power. Knowledge is confidence in yourself. You know,
which can be reflected as power. Though.
Yeah, that's how. Yeah, exactly.
People will perceive it as power, but it's not until you ask the person whether you know or not.
That's
you
how
know,
he uses it. You know, someone can be really smart and keep their mouth shut.
It goes back to saying like not everybody's gonna like us.
Then they're making assumptions like whether or not it's how, at the end of the day it's how you use those actions. You can pretend you're smart, but then if you don't actually like act out in a smart way, then you know obviously not.
Precisely.
That's why it's all about the action.
It's like there's not like knowledge and discipline kind of go hand in hand, because you can be that person that's just spewing out knowledge that has almost like no meaning with what's going on, versus like you know you stay quiet but you only apply your knowledge when it's needed. You're going to be more beneficial than the other person. You're smarter than the other person because you're only utilizing it when you need it. You're not wasting like energy on it. You're not wasting like thought. You're not wasting your time on it.
Exactly. I mean, time.
Time is a concept.
What do you say?
Time is a concept.
Time is it's a social construct.
It's still like it's something that we live with regardless.
Of course. I mean, if anything, it's leisurely makes certain things. It makes, if any, like I think that it needs to be there to an extent. You know,
it's a tool.
It's a tool. There you go. And same with LSD. Same with mushrooms. You can't look at those things as escapes. They are tools. You are yourself, regardless of what you put in your body. Yeah. You know? Yeah. Marijuana, if anything, too.
That's the biggest thing that I think it was something that we kind of learned through like trial and error with like drugs in general, is that you know there's a time and place for them. They're not just there for fun. They're not just there to be a bad influence. You know, it's there for a reason. And you can just kind of utilize it the way that suits you best. Like we used to smoke weed all day, every day, just because we liked it. We thought it was fun. We thought it was just like something to do. Now it's like you might still smoke weed during the day or something, but now it's like, at least for me, like I don't smoke weed every day anymore. As much as I love it and as much as I used to smoke it all the time, I see it as a tool. Like for me, I use it for sleep or just to relax if I really need it.
If anything, that's what I try to see too. I wonder, do you ever wonder, like in even doing it in sleep, like for sleeping or for sake, or is in a way like creates a reliability or creates a crutch?
Yeah, that's why I try not to do it every day.
That's okay. For sure. When you want to smoke at the end of those days and you want to smoke just to get that ease of access to the sleep or whatever, whatever it may be, what do you tell yourself when you...
To keep me from doing it, or
when
I do it?
Because, I'll sit there, I'll be like, It was 2:30 yesterday.
Yeah.
2:30 in the morning. Today, I guess. today. And I was like, if I smoke right now, I will be up for another hour and a half, 2 hours. Like, I just know it. And I was, you know, I stayed up like a dumbass. I don't know what to do there.
I was gonna say, I feel like you kind of created that scenario as like a self-fulfilling prophecy. You had that mindset going in that, you know, if I'm gonna smoke, I'm gonna be up for a while. But you did it anyway, so you were up for a while. But that doesn't mean that, like, you kind of set yourself up to have that, to like do that. Like, if I think like, oh, I'm gonna smoke and I'm gonna be up for a while doing this, then I'm gonna do that. But if I say like I'm gonna smoke and I'm just gonna chill and go to sleep, like yesterday, like I smoked and my plan was like, I knew I was going to be hungry, so I knew I was going to Postmate something.
If anything, what you're saying is I was thinking about the wrong things.
Yeah, you just basically set yourself, like you basically made it be just from thinking in that way.
Like it bothers me because I'm thinking that that's a problem.
It doesn't have to, and you know, it doesn't, I guess it all kind of depends on how you and mom want to look at it.
There you go.
Because you can look at it like, you know, oh, it's going to make me stay up, I'm going to lose sleep, I'm going to do this, this, or this.
I just woke up later, you know?
Yeah, and I thought that last night. I mean, I wasn't planning on smoking yesterday, but, like, I just kind of had that feeling where I was like, you know, I feel like I'd be better off if I did because I had, like, kind of a shitty day yesterday. And so I basically, like, I could have smoked and literally been asleep within 30 minutes. But I was like, you know what, I'm going to smoke. And I'm hungry, so I'm going to Postmate something, and I'm just going to eat my food, and I know I'm going to feel shitty later. And because of that, I did. Like, I literally, like, I Postmated Jack in the Box, I stayed up watching a movie, I ate that shit.
I went to eat Del Taco, I feel you.
I went to eat Del Taco at 3
in the morning.
I felt like shit. I didn't even eat half of the food I got. I literally ate it, and I felt like shit. I fell asleep on the couch, and I woke up, and I felt shitty this morning.
Dude, it's so fucking funny how identical that shit is, bro.
It's like, we do the same shit. And it's like...
That is...
But because I had those thoughts that that's what I was gonna do, it happened, you know.
You control your own destiny.
Yeah, you know, like if I could have been like, I'm gonna smoke and I'm gonna go to sleep, and then I would have done that instead, you know, because I could have like halfway, like 20 minutes after I ordered my Postmates, I was sitting there and I was tired, and I was like, fuck, if I want to, I can just go to sleep right now. But because I already set up my night that way, I was like, no, I gotta stay up, I gotta do this, this, and this, because that's, you know, I told myself that's what I was gonna do. In all reality, if I wanted to, I could have just fucking... I mean, I couldn't really I could have canceled it. It would have charged me. I could have just went to sleep, or I could have stayed up till the food got here and just put it in the fridge and went to sleep. I could have, but that's not what I set out to do, so I didn't do it. But you're in charge. Like, I could have. Like, I'm in charge of what I want to do to a certain degree. Like, with that, I have total control over it, but it's just not what I want to do. And that goes back to the whole want thing.
You gotta be confident with it.
Yeah. And honest with yourself. Know what you want.
It's
point in not, bro. Like, there's no point in not.
This, like, I was coming back from your house, and it was like 1 or 2 in the morning. We were chilling in your garage drinking 40s, and I poured, like, I had that bottle of THC, and I poured, like, half of it, like 500 milligrams, and I finished it.
Fuck,
and we sat in his garage, and we smoked a joint, and smoked some bowls, and just killed those 40s. And it started kicking in, and I was like, I gotta go before it gets any worse.
Yo. Like, yeah.
He lives, like, his house is closer than Coverly, I think. Or about the same distance. It's literally about a mile away. Yeah.
Yeah. We drove literally from there, so I mean.
Yeah, it's like down the street, literally down Spring Street.
Yeah.
And I got to the light on Los Coyotes, and I'm sitting there, and there's 3 lanes. There's 2 lanes to my right that are open, and then there's the left turn lane next to me. And there's 1 car there, and then there's just me. And I'm looking in the rearview mirror, and I'm just so cross-faded, and I'm going like in and out, and I'm just staring at my rearview mirror at the red light, and I just see like these headlights coming, and I was just like, oh, like, those seem bright, and I was like, my first thought was like, oh, it might be a cop car or something, because it was an SUV, and I noticed it's coming like kind of fast, and I noticed it wasn't slowing down as it was getting closer, and it was like one of those things where I was like, I didn't think it was real, I thought I was just tripping. And then they got like literally within like 20 or 30 feet. And I was like, yo, this car's still going like 40 miles an hour. And I was like, what the fuck? And I started freaking out. Like, I took like a breath out, I was like gasped. and maybe 10 or 15 feet from my car, swerves not into the 2 open lanes next to me, but into the left turn lane and rear ends the only car next to me.
Oh my God.
Just smashes, and this dude's fucked up, like probably about as fucked up as I am. And I'm just like, he's direct, like he hit the car so hard that they went into the intersection, and he was directly next to me, and my window was directly to his, and I'm just looking at this dude, and he had the exact same thought that I would have had. He was just sitting there, just speechless, just fuck. Like, I'm fucked. And I'm just sitting there staring, I'm just dumbfounded. And then the light turns green, and I just take off and go home. But I was just like, dude, if that dude wouldn't have swerved, like, my life would have been fucked, dude. Like, I would have for sure gotten a DUI.
Dude, this just happened to me the other day, but it wasn't a crash.
Yeah.
I was on the way home from that girl that I told you I wanted to fuck.
Yeah.
We didn't even fuck. I left his house, and I went to hang out with this girl, and I wanted to have sex with her. That was the only reason I hung out with her, and it was pretty fucking pathetic because that's very rude. But either way, I'm learning. Point is,
yeah.
I had a half a bottle of Kettle One in my backpack. I had a little bit of margarita left. I had mushrooms in my backpack. I had a bong. I had weed. It was all bad, bro. I was driving down. You know that street, that long street that kind of curves a lot by the airport?
By the airport.
And then you can turn left on Spring?
Lakewood?
I think so. Yeah, it's Lakewood. I was driving down Lakewood Boulevard, and fuck, dude. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, keep telling your story. I'll listen to you later.
Okay. I'll wait, because then yeah. I was driving down Lakewood Boulevard, and I see a car come up from the left of me, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty high at this point. I'm pretty stoned.
Yeah.
And I haven't been smoking very much.
Yeah.
So the amount of stoned I was significant compared to what I'm used to.
Yeah.
It's a cop, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's got his lights. No lights are on or anything. When he comes up, like to the left, there's 4 lanes. I'm in the same lane you were in,
Yeah.
but it isn't a left turn lane. It's just the left lane next to me. So he passes me, crosses all 4 lanes with his lights turned on. With his lights turned on, bro.
Yeah.
I'm by myself, the only car with this guy.
Yeah.
And he turns his lights on, crosses all 4 lanes. I just kept driving because all I could do was just, okay, I'm not doing anything wrong. I know I'm capable of driving safely. That's all I got to think about.
Mm-hmm.
I'm capable of driving safely because I was high, but I wasn't high enough to the point where I doubted myself.
Yeah.
I had never been more scared in my life. Everything, just like you said. I mean, whether or not the physical pain was like a factor, everything flashed before my eyes.
Oh, yeah.
Everything I could have wanted for the future, gone. And I got lucky enough to get home. I kept going, and he just fucking kept going. But he turned his lights on for some reason. Like,
That's how I had one thing similar happen to me in
Yeah,
high
actually
school.
2 weeks ago, I was like driving and stuff, and like I have a bunch of shit on me, like and stuff, and then I see the flashing lights and stuff. But then he luckily like fucking turns around though. But for a cool second, I was just like, I was the only one in that like on that street. I was just like, ah shit. I was like, fuck. I just kept on going though. I was just all like, if anything, I was just like, I'm out speed if I have to.
Yeah. Literally,
fuck, that makes perfect sense, too.
I almost like the scariest was definitely that time leaving your house, but I had one that tripped me the fuck out. I was high as shit, and I think I was going to either Hampton's house or I was going to a movie theater. Like I was going down Los Coyotes, and there's one car in front of me, like a tweaker car kind of, and there's a cop in the lane next to me, but he's the only car in the lane, and we're at a red light, and I'm sitting there and I'm high as shit, and I got my bong is out in the open with water in it in my passenger seat. Like that's how I used to drive. I literally would put the seatbelt over my bong and leave it in the passenger seat. And I'm in my Mustang, so I sit lower than the cop car. He can definitely see in that. And I start, like, the light turns green and the car in front of me goes, the cop car starts to go, I go. But I'm going, like, I'm going a little slower, so the cop's like, I'm not speeding, like, he has no reason to pull me over. And I realized the cop isn't going faster. He's right next to me. And I'm like, fuck. Like, he's like slowing, like he's like, it's a 45-mile-an-hour street. I'm going 20 miles an hour. And he's right there. I didn't notice the car in front of me was going slower too. I had no idea why. Slowed down a bit, and the cop car swerved in front of me and followed that dude. That dude, and I started looking, the dude in front of me was drunk and swerving.
Oh my god.
He pulled into the service street, the cop turned on his lights, pulled him over. I was directly behind him.
Oh my god. And you had your bong in fucking passenger seat, bro.
Yeah.
That is stupid.
And I just laughed. Like, I saw it happen, and I just couldn't help, bro. I just started laughing, and I just drove off. I was like, dude. I was like, no.
I want you to tell your story again, because I feel like I was thinking about something else, and I want to hear it again.
I was just...
Like, you've had that happen to you before, right?
It was just a very simple thing. I was just kind of adding to that, but, that was the same thing, though. I was just driving, and you see the lights behind you, I got shit.
Yeah,
like,
and you have all this stuff on you, and that's why. Yeah, because it made sense to me immediately. Yeah, dude. Fuck.
Yeah, now that, like, we're older, like 21 now, like,
Shit,
I
now.
don't do that shit anymore.
Bro, my life, I got too much to do. I got too much I want to do.
I do not. Like, the scariest was New Year's Eve just because I had, like, a couple beers and I drove home at, like, 1 a.m. and I was just terrified about hitting a DUI checkpoint. But that's, like, nowhere near, like, to the point, like, where we used to be, just literally just going out, just drinking for fun, smoking all day and shit, and just driving around wherever. Like, at 16, 17 years old. Like, literally the first time I drove, I drove after I got my license, I was drunk and Zach made me drive him home because he was extremely fucked up. So
Like,
he was
much more than you were.
Yeah, like, he drank, like, half a bottle of Kettle One and basically was just like, either you drive or I drive. And I was like, well, I guess I'm driving.
That's funny. I love that. That's hilarious. Is it wrong to assume, like, to think, like, I could do this for hours? I could talk like this for hours, bro.
That's why this is a good idea, man. Because we talk all the time anyway. Might as well try to make something out of it.
I mean, fuck yeah, dude. If anything, I mean, we grow regardless, so we make something out of it every time. But I think, yeah, like, you're right. I know what you mean. I know what you're referring to.
It's fun. It's like, it's like as a kid, like it's like pretending as a kid, like going outside with fake guns and pretending to be in a war or something. It's like, we used to do as a kid Nerf wars and shit. And one thing me and my friend used to do is we would take our phones once we got our first phones and, like, when we were like 8 or 9, and we would make little videos of it instead of just sitting there playing. We would just make videos of it.
Yes.
We didn't post it anywhere or anything. We just did it just for the sake of, we're doing this and this is fun for us, so we're just gonna, like, record it.
You just jogged my memory. That's what I would do with Casey. We literally made a video of us slamming my Razor scooter on the ground.
Yeah.
Because it was fucking hilarious.
It's like it's like we're gonna do this shit regardless. It's like, but, like, we just find other things and just make it more fun. That's just how it is.
I even videotaped myself trying to do ollies, and it was awful. I was 12. I was in the Milliken, like, auditorium steps, because you know how that's like a wide open area you can skateboard in, kind of.
Yeah.
And I guess you could, like, because my dad had been teaching there for forever, so I just went over there once in a while, and I was like, I think these are videos that are online. Like, we could watch them right now if you guys want. Let's see here. Let's see here. We're at 59 minutes and 40 seconds. You want to close anything off?